Well, hi there, and welcome to StenoFest Junior. My name is Carrie Hewerdine, and aside from being a court reporter for 41 years now, I've got my RDR, certified in several states. I do real-time, all-time, every day. Not so much in the last few weeks, but that's okay. So, having been a court reporter for all those years, what I'm doing now with hypnotherapy, you'd wonder, how does that possibly connect? But I've spent most of my career, most of my life, wondering, why do we think the way we think? Why are things so easy for some people and not so easy for others? Why are some court reporters so confident and commanding and professional when they're in the room with sometimes very challenging attorneys? And why are others so inside themselves, kind of afraid and scared and hesitant to interrupt when they need to interrupt? Hesitant to say, you're talking over each other, stop it. What is that difference? And there's a logical reason for that difference, but it took me 40 years of reporting and a personal crisis to find hypnotherapy, and not just hypnosis, but hypnotherapy. It's amazing, and I want to share that with you. If the words ready, begin, strike fear and terror into your soul, then you're in the right place. If a phrase like, hey, read that back, gives you that rush of adrenaline for a second, yeah, you're in the right place too. Or my favorite, Friday night, 6 o'clock, you're already over hours when you're working, and they say, oh yeah, we need this tomorrow. Didn't they tell you? It's like, that's the one that would always trigger me. And I just panic, absolute panic, anxiety, that conflicting idea of, I want to do a good job. I want to be professional. But what the hell? Don't I deserve to have a life? It's Friday night. Surely somebody up the chain knew this was coming. Or, they didn't tell me, they didn't tell the other person, somebody didn't tell somebody. And now I'm paying the price emotionally on a Friday night, having to make a decision. Do I give them what they want, or do I give me what I want? Or is there a way I can do both? But that's anxiety. That's two thoughts in your head that are conflicting. I've got to do this, but I don't want to do that. I've got to do this, but I can't do that. I can't please everybody. Two different thoughts. Your brain can only hold one. And when it's trying to decide which one to hold, it doesn't grab onto either one of them. So you've got looping thoughts. And I know every single one of you have been in that looping thought place. And that was one of my favorite places for, I don't know, maybe I'm 63 years old now. So I can honestly say that when my cognitive thinking kicked in at the age of 7, that's where I went, was looping thoughts. Because I came from such a chaotic environment, such an environment of not knowing any kind of stability, not knowing and not having that guidance in my life to explain to me that this is normal, this is not, this is your responsibility, this is not, this is in your control, this is not. And it was just kind of, I was out there just floundering for years, and being the good codependent person that I am and still recovering from, it was like my whole mode of operandi in life was, who needs what? What can I fix? What can I make better? Can I make everybody out there feel okay about themselves? Because if they feel okay, then I'm safe. Doesn't matter if I feel okay, but I'm safe. Nobody's going to attack me. Nobody's going to criticize me. Nobody's going to put me in that place of fear. And for a lot of court reporters, not all, thank God, but a lot of court reporters, we chose this profession because it gave us a safe place. Doesn't feel safe sometimes out in the field, but it's a safe place. You're sitting behind a machine. You're really good at what you do. You're striving to give that perfect product every time. And knowing that that's never really going to happen, but you keep trying because that's who we are. And then also being in that place of, I don't have to say anything. I don't have to interact in this world. It's their words. I'm taking them down beautifully, but I'm not responsible for what comes out of their mouths. Nobody asks for an opinion of mine, well, except maybe that rare attorney after the case that says, what do you think? Did you believe that witness? Do I have a good case? And then we get to say, oh, I wish I could tell you about that. Wish I could talk about it, but I can't. There's that code of ethics thing that we live by. And, or I was just so concentrating on giving you a perfect transcript that I really wasn't paying attention to the whole contextual side of your case. I was just focused on the moment, in the moment, giving you the best product possible, giving you the most completely verbatim transcript that I possibly can. So that thing that hits us when we're out in the field, that thing that hits us as students when we're in the classroom, when we're trying to pass those speed tests, that a lot of people describe it as anxiety, panic, nerves, worry. It's all the same thing. And it all comes from the same root cause. All anxiety is to give you an indication, to give you a little flag coming up telling you that some part of your being does not feel safe. It's a little alarm that goes off. It's just a sensation in your body, that feels horrible, like it's going to kill you at times. And it won't, even if it morphs into a panic attack, which just means that it hasn't gotten your attention initially, and so it's got to rev up what it can do to try to get your attention, to tell you that something's happening and we're not safe. And it's weird. It's so hard to overcome because we're hardwired for that stuff. Your body, your whole neurological system, your whole neuroscientific that system of you that is you, your mind, your body, your brain, all of it is hardwired to protect you. Because thousands of years ago, you're walking along, you hear something rustling in the bushes, there's that automatic part of you that perks up and says, something's not safe here. Tiger could be jumping out in the bushes, or some other horrible animal to get us, to eat us for lunch right now. Be on the alert, be on the aware. And so as a court reporter also, you're always on the alert, on the aware. You've got your radar going. Is he going to talk next? Is he going to talk next? Does somebody look like they're going to interrupt? Or oh God, they're going to mark exhibits in the middle of everything else. And this is the attorney that doesn't realize I only have two hands. And they're usually on the machine writing. And he wants to hand me the exhibit, have it marked, and continue without a skip in his questioning to go right on to the next thing. Which means I now have to open my mouth and interject and say things into the world that if I'm not practiced at it, I'm going to feel awkward at it. So all those things can make us feel unsafe. And it's funny because you think, well, I'm not unsafe, but it's just that little perception deep inside you. If you're going into a test, you've been in a test 100 times and you've failed many of those 100 times, because that's what we do as reporters. We don't get a D, we don't get a C minus, we have to get an A plus or it's a fail. That's a lot of pressure. And you learn that coping with that kind of pressure as you're going through school, but it doesn't make it any easier. Somebody told me once, wow, 98.5% accuracy, or whatever it is for your test, is nothing compared to being out in the field, and now it's 100% accuracy that you're striving for. Wow, I hadn't thought about it that way. Because on a regular, I'm thinking of the California state test where we're allowed 50 errors. Well, out in the field, do you, in a 10-minute take, decide, which of those 50 things should I just leave out? You don't think about it that way. No, it's like every single word, it's word, 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 word coming at you. And your brain is so amazing. It's so freaking amazing. Both halves of your brain are working just in tandem, simultaneously, just instantaneously in a nanosecond, flipping back and forth from logical mind to creative mind, to logical mind to creative mind. I had a neurosurgeon explain this to me one time, and he stopped the whole deposition to tell these guys, you can't believe what an incredible brain that woman has. And I'm thinking, what? Behind that machine. He said, she hears the questions coming in. She's analyzing the words as they're coming through. She's processing it in her mind, and she's flipping it back and forth between what I'm hearing and how I want to write it. What I'm hearing, how I want to write it, how I want it to come out on that screen. And I'm thinking, are you married to a court reporter? This is freaking phenomenal. And we went on for 5 minutes about what an incredible thing, yeah, the human brain is, but the human court reporting brain is leaps and bounds beyond that, because we're able to do that and still function as a human being. Please mark this exhibit. Would you read that back? Can you hand me this? You know, can we take a break? You can go for another 6 hours without a break, right? We can finish this in another 30 minutes, right? And we're still producing beauty beyond belief. We're transporting what we're hearing through our brain in an instant and visualizing what we want it to come up as on that computer screen, so that it's that perfect product for our client. And so it's a more perfect product for us at the end of the day, so that we have less time to invest in finishing that transcript, which means we theoretically make more money in the time that we're investing. So I want to share with you some things that I didn't know when I first started off, like that there are rules of the mind. It's like, really? Rules of the mind. I'm going to get to that in a second. First, I'm going to tell you what is hypnosis and what it is not. I'm going to try to share my screen for a second. If I can do this effectively, you will see a graph come up. If I do it ineffectively, you will not see the graph. And I'll just keep talking and tell you that there are 3 different methods of hypnosis. And on this chart, you're actually going to see the efficacy of different modes of therapy, starting with psychotherapy, which this study was done on weight loss. And so in their control group and in their therapeutic group, it took 600 sessions to get 38% positive, effective rate of weight loss for just psychoanalysis, which is basically just talk therapy. Going over to the second column, which you may or may not be able to see on your screen, it took 22 sessions, so basically a 72% effective rate for behavioral therapy, which would be more like cognitive behavioral therapy. And then on this chart, it shows that for just hypnosis, it says hypnotherapy here, but basically it was hypnosis. It took 6 sessions and had a 93% success rate. Now that in itself is pretty freaking amazing. And I'm going to close this out so we don't have to worry about seeing that right now. Whether you saw it or not, we'll find out when I play this video back. But what we do, what I do, the newest form of hypnosis out there is a thing called RTT, which is Rapid Transformational Hypnotherapy. It was developed by Marissa Peer in the UK, and she has been voted the #1 psychotherapist in all of the UK for several years. And this new method of hypnosis, Rapid Transformational Therapy, actually won 11 awards last year for the best new psychotherapy modality available in the market, because it takes what has to happen in years of talk therapy, and it condenses it through adding tools, all kinds of tools, cognitive behavioral therapy, neurolinguistic programming, echoing feedback, reframing, all of those things. It condenses it down into usually a 90-minute session, the object of which is to not talk about your pain, emotional, physical, whatever it is, but to get to the root of why you have that pain, and to dispel that, to get your subconscious mind to understand that that doesn't help anymore. We need to get rid of that. And then through a way of rewiring the neural pathways in your brain, 21-day process of listening to a recording that's specially for you, which focuses on what you want to get rid of, what you want your life to look like afterwards. And I can tell you from personal experience, it's amazing to see people who have gone from I'm procrastinating, I'm behind my machine, but I hate it, my kids hate it, my family hates it, you know, how am I going to be able to get out of court reporting school if I don't want to practice? And then in 8 weeks, I mean, 21 days, and then the follow through afterwards, seeing somebody go from 180 to boom, 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 out of school, working. And okay, that was Florida, so she didn't have to pass the state test. But then somebody else in New York, 8 weeks, same thing, 180. All of a sudden it was letting her brain see what was possible. Once her brain could see what was possible, it started focusing on that, which is kind of amazing. Because before it was, I asked her, well, how long do you think you're going to be in school? Well, I have no idea, but I've been in 180s for like a long time. And all the school has taken me a long time. And it was like, that's all her brain could hear was a long time. And we actually went through a process of me saying, okay, well, you're in 180s. Have you passed any 180s? No. So how many total tests do you have to pass to get out of school? Because she was in New York, and once you're certified out of school, you can actually do depots. There are other tests you have to take to work in Superior Court or grand jury, but you can go do depots. So how many tests do you have to pass? Well, I've got 3 in each speed class. Okay, let's do the math here. 3 in 180s, 3 in 200s, 3 in 225s. Okay, so how many tests do you get a week in school? I get 2 tests a week. Okay, do both of them count if you pass both of them? Because I came from a school that was determined to keep me in school for as long as I lived. So they would not let me count more than 1 test a week. I had to pass 3 consecutive tests in every speed category to get to the next test. It was just oppressive. Anyway, so for her, it was, yes, I can count both of those. Okay, so if you've got 9 tests to pass and you get 2 tests a week, and that's in 5 weeks, that's 10 tests that you have possibilities of passing. So what's the first date that you could get out of school if you passed every single test in that 5-week period? Well, I can't do that. I didn't ask you if you could do that. I asked you for the date. What's the date that is humanly possible if you passed all those tests? But that's impossible. Okay, so it's impossible. It would take a miracle. Fine. What's the date if that did happen? And she finally gave me a date. It was like, March 25th or something. And I thought, okay, so now your brain knows that there's a date that it might be possible if you're getting out of school, short of several more years from now. And it was like deer in the headlights look as she was listening to me. And I said, it's okay. It's okay. You just start telling your brain that's possible. Yeah, it would take a miracle, but it's possible. It was never possible before. I did a recording for her, and it basically focused on things like you keep your focus on what's in front of you, on immediately the things that you have to do, that you have to do. You make a protocol during the day. You decide what you can do, what you can't do, what you want to focus on, and you start visualizing what your life is going to look like when you're out of school. And for those of you who are reporters, fine, this works the same way. Visualize what you want your ideal life to look like, as hard as it is. It's like, think of yourself being that reporter who's in control and in charge and in command in a beautiful, brilliant, professional way when you go into a room to do a deposition or in court. So back to her. I'm on a train headed to a job in San Francisco. It's the 13th of April. And I get a text message, and it says, whoa, I think I passed that last test on Tuesday. This is like Thursday, I think. And I thought, well, that's great. She says, I think I passed the one I just took yesterday, but I won't know for a while. I'm waiting for it to come back. And I'm like, wow, 2 tests. That is so awesome. I'm so excited. I mean, those are, like, they hit me inside just as much as if it was my test that I passed. And then I get a message back later in the day. Yeah, I passed. I passed both of them. And that happened so fast that I forgot to even stop and go get my notary. And I'm like, what are you talking about, your notary? You just, I'm thinking she passed 2 180s. No, this was the last test to get her out of school. She had just boom, 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 180s, 200s, 225s, because finally her brain knew that it was possible. And what she had been doing had been building her speed to the point where she had been ready for so long. But that part of her brain that didn't believe, that didn't know, just kept her on the same track. It was like she just couldn't quite pass a test. She just couldn't quite. And sometimes that's the fear of what's the world going to look like when I get out there, because that's kind of a scary place to a student brain that's been reading the stuff on Facebook and hearing about all the horror stories. And it's like, yeah, they happen. You know what? I watch those sites because if that bad stuff happens, I want to think about that bad stuff and how would I handle that if that happened to me, and I almost get to rehearse it in my brain so it becomes something familiar. Like, okay, that happened. Somebody said that to me. This is what I would say, which is so much better than finishing a job and then having that loop in your head for 4 or 5 days saying, this is what I should have said. This is what I could have said. How dare they put me in a position like that? Whatever, you know how the brain just loops. So knowing that it could happen helps you prepare for it if it did happen, and then you let it go because that's actually somebody else's stuff. It's just a learning experience for you. So when I think about hypnosis, and this took me a bit to understand that there are 3 different kinds of hypnosis. There's stage hypnosis, which is real, but it's done in a theatrical way, and the people doing the hypnosis know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly who they're picking, and it's somebody that is suggestible, that wants to be there, because you, aside from the Manchurian Candidate kind of scenario, you cannot hypnotize somebody to do something that they would not morally, ordinarily do in their everyday life. And that's why sometimes people can come to me and I'll assess them and I'll realize you think you really want this, but you don't really believe you're ready to change. I can't fix that. I can help you learn to believe in yourself that change is possible and that the change doesn't have to be threatening or scary, because they come to a place where the change is almost scarier than the situation they're in. There's your looping thought again. But once you can dispel that it's okay, you know, the change is going to make things different, but it's going to be better. Once you can get them on board for that, then yeah, hypnotically you can change them. You can help them rewire their own brain to get the results that they want. So the second type of hypnosis is what we fondly in the industry call your grandma's hypnosis. It's the thing that everybody used to do. And actually, in 1978, when I was in court reporting school, Jeannie, who was one of my classmates, there was a bunch of us that were all ready to take the California CSR for the first time. And the rumor was that Jeannie was going to go to a hypnotist. And we all thought, oh, poor thing, you know, she's so nervous, you know, we're all ready, you know, but she doesn't think she's got it, I guess, you know, because she's having to go to somebody else and paying money to have somebody else hypnotize her for what? I mean, it just was so weird. So we all went and took CSR. I missed it by 5. Everybody else in that group failed. Jeannie passed. That stuck with me for a long time. Didn't understand it, couldn't analyze it, just kind of put it in the back of my mind. When I had my own problems that came up in life and I wanted to find out, why am I whatever it was? Why does it keep happening? Why can't I get past this? And I went to see somebody who really knew what they were doing. Not the grandma's type of hypnosis, which will work. It just takes maybe 5 or 6 sessions repeatedly, because your brain learns by repetition, another rule of the mind. But with RTT, with rapid transformational therapy, you just go to the root and then start getting rid of that. And so the process is so much faster. But I've had a lot of success, even with just doing a recording for, especially for students, to give them that last, I can do this, I can do this, I can see myself doing it. And that's what athletes do. They practice to see themselves doing the thing they want to do. They see the result. They see themselves standing on the podium, holding the medal, holding the trophy. They feel that rush that they would feel if that thing was real. And your mind does not know the difference between imagination and what's actually happening to you, which is why when you have a thought that triggers you, your whole body goes into an anxiety response because it doesn't know that the memory that just got triggered is not happening right here, right now. It has no idea. It responds to those things as if they're happening right now. So a lot of what I do is, yeah, hypnosis, but more of what I do is what some people call mindset, but it's way more than mindset. It's emotional trauma release. It's rewiring your brain to think a different way. It's reframing constantly. And it, just like anything, just like practicing, just like learning theory, it takes practice. It takes repeated practice. I'll tell you something that took practice for me, and it should have been easy, but for 40 years, I used to say, oh, I'm sorry, can you say that again? I'm sorry, you guys were talking at the same time. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, you guys are going too fast. You've got to slow down. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm so freaking sorry. What did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. And somebody said to me, Carrie, this isn't about you. It's about the record. You are an advocate for the record. You are the voice of the record. It's not about you. You're protecting the record. And from that moment on, it was so much easier. It was like, oh yeah, well, if the record was a little kid, I'd be there for it. If it was my best friend, I'd be there for it. And we know how much the record means to all of us. It's what got us here. It's that knowing that we are carrying on this lineage of being a scribe, of recording history, of capturing it all forever, for everybody to have, so that we maybe as a species can evolve easier, faster by knowing where our mistakes were and how we could do it better, to share the knowledge together, to capture it all. That's what we do. It's just, it gives me goosebumps when I think about where we've come from and where we can possibly go, even in this profession, because we will be here long. We were here long before, and we will be here long after. It's what we do. So I want to share a little bit about what my teacher, Marissa Peer, told me about the rules of the mind. There are many of them, but here are some key ones. That your mind learns by repetition. Okay, which is why when you're learning your theory or learning a new brief, learning a new phrase, it starts up here. You're learning it. This is the cognitive part of your brain. You're learning it. Why do I do this? What do I do? How do I do it? Why are we doing it this way? The analytical part. Once you've decided, okay, this is cool, I understand it, I like it, that's a good brief. Not all of Mark Kislingberry's can my brain accept. I try to grab the ones that my brain can lock onto something logical, and then we go with it. And if I'm feeling resistance on a brief, I put it in the pile of maybe someday, and I work on the ones that my brain is ready to accept. Practice, 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 practice hearing it, practice writing it, practice seeing it, practice, practice, practice. It's not just practice. I didn't know that. It's repetition that will put that physical process, that muscle memory, into your subconscious. It becomes part of your autonomic system. I didn't know that. You know how you get in your car and you're driving someplace and you get to where you're going, you don't even know where you were along the way or how you got there, and you're thinking, holy moly, what was that? Well, that was a hypnotic trance. You go in and out of them all day long. It's just brain waves dropping from beta waves down to alpha waves, beta waves down to alpha waves, back and forth all day. If you're not consciously thinking of something up here, boom, you drop automatically down into the only programming you've known, which was probably installed when you were very young, unless you've stopped it somewhere along the way and changed the way you think. That's what I do. I love it. So by repetition, you're getting that stuff into your subconscious, and then just like your subconscious drives the car, you're awake, but you're not awake. You're not consciously driving the car. You're thinking about the grocery list, the dog, the kids, the stuff, the whatever's on the news. You're thinking about something else consciously, and your subconscious is driving the car. Your subconscious is what drives the machine. It's amazing. And so the harder this is another rule of the mind, the harder you focus with your conscious mind, the less access you have to your subconscious, to the automatic part. So if you want to write faster, if you want to write more smoothly, if you want to write in a more relaxed state, let it go and don't try as hard. And that sounds counterproductive. And at first it is, because everything is difficult at first. You didn't start off walking one foot in front of the other amazingly. You didn't. You tripped, you fell, you stumbled, you stopped, you started again. You picked yourself up as a little kid and you just kept going and you just kept trying, because somewhere deep inside you, you know if you do it and do it and do it, you'll get better at it. You'll get better at it, you'll get faster at it, you will succeed at what you're trying to accomplish. Because your mind, your body, it's not gonna, as a congruent mechanism, is not gonna let you keep trying to do something that's just physically impossible. But your mind will let you go places that you allow it to believe in. Like, for instance, the 4-minute mile, which was not a thing, because nobody could do a 4-minute mile. Running a mile in a 4-minute, can't do it, not possible. Until somebody did it. And then other people could do it because they could see it was possible. Like my student in New York, all of a sudden her brain could see something possible that it did not see was possible before, and that opens up everything. It changes your whole freaking life, because we live in a world where we filter things. We don't even know we're doing it. I didn't know I was doing it. But think about this. Your conscious mind is being bombarded constantly by millions of little bits of information. The sun is shining, the wind is blowing, the TV is on, the doorbell's ringing, just information constantly being hit at you. Now, this part of your mind, the creative part, the analytical part, it's a little slower than your subconscious. It is capable, and I get these numbers wrong every time, but it doesn't matter. It's a huge disparity. Your conscious mind can process about 126 bits of information per second. That's a lot. But get this, your subconscious can process 2 million bits of information coming in. So it's the part of you that's kind of aware of everything, even though you're not aware. It's the part that goes around the block, that saw the empty parking space that you didn't see. And you come around the block again and it's like, oh, look at that, I manifested that parking space. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but some part of you recognized it and had you go around the block again to grab that parking space. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. But here's the deal. This is the best example I can come up with. When you have lost your car keys, you drop them somewhere in the house and you can't remember where you put them. And you tell the world, you tell your subconscious, you declare to all that is, I've lost my keys. I cannot find them. I don't know where they are. I will never find them. I've looked everywhere and they're nowhere. And then you can't find them. And then later in the day, you look in that place where you know you looked 10 times and damn it, there they are. And you think, how could that be? How could that be? Let me tell you how that be. I love this. Your brain was hearing you say, the keys are lost. The keys cannot be found. The keys will never be found. They're lost, gone, forever. Sad, so sad. And it says to itself, okay, I've only got 126 bits of information here to work with. I cannot spare one of those to be looking for a set of keys that's gone, that's missing. It's never going to be found. It doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned now. And it no matter, even if you're looking at the keys, you will not see them because your brain is filtering out for what you told it did not exist. So if you want to find the damn keys, you've got to change what you're telling your mind. I know I put them somewhere. I'm not finding them easily at the moment, but I know I know where they are. So let it go, and that part of you will find the keys. But think about it. If you can filter out seeing keys that are right in front of you, you're also filtering out amazing things that are available to you in your life, opportunities, paths, things that are out there that are just going, hey, you, pay attention to me. There's a great thing going on here. How about if you tried this? How about if you went that way? And you're not seeing them because you've defined your reality to whatever it is. For a long time, I defined my reality as every job I go to is hard. Every set of attorneys I'm in front of is fast. I'm never fast enough to be able to keep up with these people. I'm a merit writer, so yeah, I was fast enough to keep up with them, but I kept telling myself that. And so what kind of jobs do you think I got? Exactly what I kept telling myself I was going to get, until I went through a huge process. And it took 3 solid months of working with somebody about, how am I thinking? What am I thinking? What is that getting me? Why do I think that way? How can I let it go? How can I reframe it? And then all of a sudden, one day, it started changing. And it was, yeah, it was me being in a different place for me. But I swear to you, the outside world started showing up differently. Attorneys started showing up differently. Witnesses started showing up differently. The freaking speeds they were going at started showing up differently. So I'm going to give you a couple of quick, just physiological things you can do to help calm an anxiety attack, to conquer it right in its path. And then I'm going to leave you with something that I think is just kind of magic. So breathing techniques. Here's 2 really quick ones. The first thing you want to do when you're feeling an attack coming on, when you're feeling anxiety, any kind of nervousness, it could be not just reporting, but walking through your front door, looking at the television, which I suggest you just try not to right now. But to be present in your body. A lot of you, like me, came from a chaotic beginning that was a place where maybe it was not safe to be in your body. And you learn to dissociate real fast, just not be in your body. Because if you can't feel pain, then life is a little safer. But if you can't feel pain, you can't really feel pleasure either. You can't really feel happiness. I mean, it's part of the same spectrum. So getting present in your body, because for court reporters, we live most of the time right up here. And where we really want to be is down here, in your body, connected to that subconscious part of you that is the powerful part. It is the all-knowing part. It is the part that is connected to the all. And that's where our power comes from. So getting in your body is as easy as recognizing and being aware of, what do I see? I'm here right now. What do I see? What do I hear? Engaging all your senses. Do I taste anything? Do I smell anything? Feeling your butt in the chair or your feet on the ground. Engaging all 5 senses, and to try to do them kind of as a game. How many of those senses can I engage all at the same time? Can I see what I'm seeing, hear what I'm hearing, feel what I'm feeling, smell and taste? I mean, can I engage them all? Sometimes I can get 2, 3. Once I thought I had 5. I think it was the hot chocolate chip cookies that like put me over the edge to connect them all together. But it's kind of a fun practice, and it puts you right back in your body, and it grounds you so that you're not up in your head listening to all of this stuff. The other thing is what I call square breathing, which is just so easy to remember, and it's accessible to you all the time. Square. You're going to take a breath in for 4 counts, as fast as you're comfortably able to breathe. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to hold it for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to exhale for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to hold that for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and do it again. So it's basically just a method of making your body's breathing rhythm slow down. If you can do that 10 times, It will absolutely ground you back and calm you down, because you are tricking your body to think that you're safe. Because when you're not safe, your breathing increases, your heart rate increases, all of it increases because you're ready to run or fight or flight. It's ready to go, ready to face the danger. And you're basically telling your body, there is no danger. I'm okay. Whatever it was you perceived, even if it was true, it's gone. Sometimes it can be so strange. I had a client, I won't name names, but I had a client who had been molested as a little boy. And as this was happening to him, there was a cologne that the perpetrator was wearing. And he had no idea. It was 30 years later that he was triggered by that same scent. And it only was because it happened several times that he was able to make the connection that, oh my God, I'm smelling that smell, and it takes me like right back. My body is like in its, oh my God, I'm just a little kid, and I have no control, and I'm scared and terrified. It's going to happen again. It's not going to happen again. You're 30 years old. You're here now. You're safe. And if that guy was here, oh God, help him, because you'd take care of it right here and right now. Yeah, but your amygdala, the part that stores those memories and connects it to emotion, it doesn't know it's gone. It thinks, if it thinks it, it's happening right now. If something triggers it, it's happening right now. And if you guys caught some of my videos online, and you're welcome to join me, I talk about how it's been my journey to find out what triggers me, and how sometimes, you've got to practice to be able to catch your brain before it lets your mouth engage and you say things that you really would rather not have said. So here's the very last thing I'm going to leave you with. This is for working reporters, and I think this is amazing. Right now, while we're online, it's a little different, but when we get back out into the physical world, reporting one-on-one, this was amazing. I had gone to a hypnosis conference and gotten all this information, and was at a depot, having a conversation with an attorney. And she had been talking so fast, and she was new, and she was nervous, and I knew she wasn't doing it on purpose. And how many times I interrupted her, it was not going to stop her. And I just decided to share a story with her. I said, as we were talking, I said, you know what? I went to this thing last weekend, and it was all about hypnosis. It was about a thing called conversational hypnosis. I didn't even know that was a thing. And he was telling us that, did you know, and he works with a lot of big attorney firms out of LA. So I guess he knows what he's talking about. But, 7-figure jury verdicts. So he knows what he's talking about. And he's saying, did you know that there's a way that you can talk to people, even in a deposition, or if you're picking a jury, and you're building rapport without them knowing it, and you're talking at a speed that is kind of hypnotic. It's really weird, but it's almost like the slower you talk, the more you actually get what you want to get. Whereas the attorneys who talk really fast are talking that fast because they want to have everybody think they know what they're doing, and they don't. They don't know where they're going, and so it's kind of a stream of consciousness, whatever's coming out next as fast as they can. Or they're nervous and they want to get out of that room, and they want to figure, the faster I talk, the faster I'll be done. I'll be on my plane and gone. They just really don't know what they're doing. And the last, I love this, was they just don't care what anybody else is thinking. They're not even hearing what the witness is saying. They just want to hear themselves talk. So pick one. But I said, isn't that amazing that you can talk slower and get what you want from the witness? That kind of blew my mind. I got to find out more about that. That's just, wow. We took a break. We came back, and I kid you not, this is how she started the next session, and this is how she continued for the rest of the day. Now, Mr. Smith, earlier we were talking about that incident that you had, and I just want to clarify a couple of things. Is that okay? Awesome. So when you first talked about that, could you tell me a little bit more about what you meant by blah, blah? We spent the next 4 hours in court reporter heaven. And all I had done was planted a suggestion in her mind. I didn't tell her to slow down, because when I was trying to do that, it didn't work. I suggested to her that the smart attorneys, the really good attorneys, are the ones that are clear and concise and calm and slower. And that's all she needed to hear. Her life has been changed forever. And every reporter who will ever work for her life has been changed forever. You're welcome. You guys hang in there. Know that the power is within you. I do groups for students all the time. If there's anybody who just even needs a pep talk, give me a holler. I'm here for you. There were people who were here for me, and I am honored to be able to give back. You guys go have a great day. Believe in what you want. Believe in what you can do. That belief will set you free. I know. I've been there. I've done that. Take care.